Good day, everyone. I'm John, moderator for this webinar. I welcome everyone for today's webinar, Recent Rulings from HUD 2022. I would now like to introduce our presenter for today, Paul Flockstead. Paul is the owner of Property Management Solutions. Paul has been involved in the real estate industry for the past 38 years. I would now like to hand over the floor to one of the best speaker. Over to you, Paul.
Thank you so much. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about some recent updates from HUD, and there's four basic topics with these updates, and we'll be going through them, and we'll have any questions at the end, so save your questions, and we'll go from there. The first one is management occupancy reviews, and or MORs as scheduled, and that was effective just in September of this year, September 26th. So under the new rule, MORs will occur on a 1, 2, or 3-year schedule based on the previous MOR score. Note any MORs scheduled before September 26th will occur as scheduled. The final rule also clarifies that even though HUD is publishing this schedule, HUD or a CA or contract administrator retains the right to schedule an MOR at any time. And the intent of the new system is to reduce the frequency of MORs from the multifamily properties. The amended MOR system applies to the 7 project-based Section 8 programs, including Section 202 or /8 program. The contract administrators conduct on-site MORs to evaluate the property's overall management, guided by the 4350, the Bible of the multifamily industry anyway. They have classifications previously of superior, above average, satisfactory, below average, and unsatisfactory. But now they have the new schedule, and they're establishing the frequency. Under the new system, property may have it more annually, biannually, or triannually. Federal Register notice detailing the above MOR schedule suggests that the owners provide copies of their completed MORs to tenant organizations. Now, what could trigger MOR? HUD's going to let you know to schedule this review. Another thing that we need to talk about is harassment. A lot of changes have come along in the harassment situation. Claims must be filed even if the alleged victim did not experience the loss of housing opportunity. Must sexual harassment be motivated by a sexual desire in order to violate the Fair Housing Act? No, their sexual harassment does not have to be motivated by sexual desire. What do the property owners have to do to prevent and stop sexual harassment for actions for individuals who work for him outside of that? Outside contractors are under his purview. If a tenant sexually harasses another tenant, some courts have held that owners and managers, including condominium associations, are held liable. Is it a violation of fair housing when a woman sexually harasses a man? Yes, it is. And same-sex type situations, yes, you're covered there as well. What legal action? You can file a complaint with HUD. The victim has 1 year after the alleged sexual harassment to file a complaint at risk of a fair housing complaint. Under the Federal Fair Housing Act, it is unlawful to coerce, intimidate, threaten, or interfere with any person or in the exercise or enjoyment. If you file a complaint as a victim for sexual harassment, HUD is protecting you in the event that an individual alleges sexual harassment and or files a complaint against the property owner or manager. You need to have policies. This new ruling also covers tenant-on-tenant harassment, outlines 2 major types of harassment, quid pro quo. Next new ruling, of course, is the assistance animals has new guidance. The new guidance is provided as a tool for housing providers and persons with a disability. You have to be disabled under the Fair Housing Act. The ADA, a service animal is a dog. Now, the service animal definition is a dog that has been professionally trained to do a job for the tenant, the companion animal. But under the service animal, they are meant that individually trained to do work or perform tasks for the benefit of that individual with a disability including physical, sensory, psychiatric, or intellectual, or other mental disability. So you need to ask yourself some questions, check and see whether this animal is required. Now you can verify whether the person is disabled. There's no official registry of assistance animals. Type of animals again typically are common animals, household animals. If it's a not household animal or a unique animal of some types, you still can accept that. Now, there is no automatic restriction on species, breed, weight, or size. Have the reasonable accommodation, can ask for any of these animals, not charge any fee or surcharge. You can charge tenant for damages, of course, but you cannot charge for the separate deposit for that animal. Failure to adhere to the guidance does not necessarily constitute a violation of housing provider if it's not done. Criminal background checks. Breaking this down, it's a new, you would talk to them about what their felony was about. Now the last thing, we've got LGBTQ, protection against discrimination based on the sex, to include discrimination based on sexual orientation, effective immediately. Fair Housing shall accept for filing and investigate all complaints of sexual discrimination. Fair Housing shall conduct all other activities involving the application, interpretation, and enforcement of the Fair Housing Act's prohibition on sex discrimination. This memorandum also affects state and local agencies. Fair housing agencies are to remain substantially equivalent and they must be administered consistently. Some cities and states chose to explicitly protect against that, so there is local fair housing protection as well. LGBTQ people face a higher level of housing discrimination, including price gouging, evictions, and worse treatment when seeking housing. The LGBTQ people are protected from discrimination based on their sexual orientation or gender identity. It has suffered several persistent discrimination. Results suggest that HUD's nationwide prohibition. They passed the act by the House of Representatives on February 25th of 2021. Types of gender identity are out there. Many Americans refrain from talking about sexual orientation or gender identity because they are not sure of the definitions. So I think we've covered the 5 basic new rulings out. We've just kind of covered them in general.